Hey guys, Disclaimer Magic here, and I'm going to make this as brief as I can. This is a complicated topic, but I have solved it. I mean, the title's not clickbait. I figured out what they're doing. I opened 12 boxes today, very carefully looked at the order, the rares, the distribution, color, everything. So about 5 boxes in, it was pretty obvious what they did. So 1, they're not mappable. They are not mappable. Maybe 5 to 10% of them are mappable, like somewhat reliably, but you'd have to know like when they were printed, what distributor, when it came to the warehouse, that kind of stuff. So in other words, it's not mappable. I mean, just think about that. Overall 5% accuracy, why even try? You'd probably you could guess better than that. So let's start at the beginning. Rudy takes all of his boxes out of cases so that he has no idea which one's went in which case, which that's just brilliant. And then opened 2 boxes that were almost definitely not next to each other in the case, because that's how this works. And they were practically identical, but in a different sequence, if I recall. Fast forward to yesterday, I opened 2 boxes. The 2 boxes were drastically different from each other. And the first box shared 2 cards with one of Rudy's, well, with Rudy's 2 identical boxes, and the second one shared either 10 or 11, which there's 24. With 15 mythics and 52 rares, a 40% crossover is about what you would get with just 2 completely random boxes. So that indicated nothing, but remember, he orders from 4 different distributors, maybe 5 at this point. I order from 1. So just think about the sheer number of cards I've opened in my entire career, okay? It's a lot. I know the patterns. I know that you'll find the same 3 commons in the front of almost every pack. 75% of the time usually. You'll never get the same uncommon in one pack. I mean, I get cards upside down in the pack, so if somebody's about to say, oh, I had that happen once, well, anything can happen once. I've had people get the wrong language in a pack. How the hell does that even happen? They're not even printed on the same continent. Like, literally, how does that happen? Anyway, these 12 box openings that I did are very different from Masters 2015, Eternal Masters, Masters 2017, and I opened 30, 40,000 cards worth, at least. Like, you start to notice things, like the same color uncommons are grouped together more often than not. A card number and alphabetical are together more often than not in the uncommon slot. And like I said, the front common has very, very, very high prevalence. But the rares and mythics and foils, they never had a tendency. This time they do have a tendency, but they don't. So here's what I am 99% sure Wizards did, just in my experience and with all the extrapolation math that I did. They changed the randomization distance, and they did it on purpose. They changed the distance that a card can travel once it is cut off of the sheet. Now I say this because I opened 12 boxes, and in all 12 boxes, no joke, I got 0 repeats within the same box. That is impossible. That doesn't happen. That simply doesn't happen. That is the first thing that I noticed is there are no internal intra-box or I don't know what it is, intra-box, whatever, in the same box duplicates. There were none, absolutely 0. So 3 very important things to note when it comes to that. 1, a lot of boxes are going to look similar because you're going to get like half of all the rares. So there's going to be so much crossover. You're like, oh, I just pulled that. I just pulled that. I just pulled that. And people aren't used to that because that's not normally what happens. Normally you'd be like, oh, cool. I got 3 of the same fetch line. Oh, I got 2 of this card. I got 3 of this rare. No, you will get 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All 24 will be different rares. That's because, like I said, they changed the distance that a card can travel when they are, quote, randomizing it. And they aren't randomizing it. I should stop using that term. To say that anything about this is random is a joke at this point. They are not random. They never have been random. What they need to do, they don't need to make it random. They don't need to use a computer number generator thing to like say, okay, put this card in this slot. No, they just need to make it not predictable. If you can't tell what card is going to be in what pack, that's good enough than full random, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper to do at the printing facility. So the first thing is realize that with no repeat prints, a lot of boxes are going to look and feel similar. The second point is a lot of boxes are going to have a consistent value. Now we're getting into why I think they did this on purpose. Remember how you could get, you know, what is that, $100 plus card in last one? You could get like 2 of those in one box. Oh my God. They don't want $600 boxes and $50 boxes. They do not want that. And to say that this set is hit or miss is an understatement. They designed it that way. So when it's hit or miss and you can get 2 or 3 copies of the same mythic or same rare in one box, that is bad. Do you think somebody's going to go away pissed off, not ever wanting to buy another Magic product ever again, if they open up a $240 box, which at this point, I mean, who the hell's not selling them for $190 locally, and then get $50 out of it? Well, if it's 80% misses and you can get repeats, oh my God. I would estimate that about 20% of the rares and mythics are worth pulling. They're very valuable, like significantly above 10. And so if there's 0 repeats, you're going to hit about 50% of the cards that can be put in there. So you multiply those, well, not multiply, just do the math. I'm not going to throw up a damn equation, but it's virtually impossible to have a worthless box. So instead of $600 and then $50, and then $400 and then $100, pretty much every box is going to be like 200 plus or minus 50 or just whatever. So they made it more consistent on the smaller box purchase level. So just think about it. You as a customer, would you prefer the gamble of, oh my God, I could pull, 400 bucks or 150? I could gain or I could lose, or I don't know what cards are specifically going to be in it, but I could be pretty confident that, plus or minus 50 bucks, I'm going to get about my money back. With what I know about the market, people would prefer the consistency. People love to gamble, I get it, but people hate to lose. That's the thing. They like to gamble when they win. People will say, I love to gamble until they start losing, and then 50% of the people that lose are going to be pissed off. If you drop 200 flat on a box and then pull about 200 bucks worth of cards out of there, nobody's going to go away like, oh, damn it. Like, unless they're like so clueless about how probability works that they're like, oh, this wasn't a $400 box. I only got what I paid for. Oh, that's terrible. Most people aren't that stupid. So that's the second major point. And that's why, like I said, I think Wizards did this on purpose. They said, take the cards, scramble them all up, from the mythic and rare sheets, and then don't move them as far. Don't put them into as big of a pool before you distribute them out. And if you do that on purpose, you're going to get more consistent, even level pricing per box. And it eliminates God boxes, I get it, but it also eliminated absolute just skunk boxes where you get kicked square in the nuts. Kind of weird that Wizards of the Coast keeps saying, oh, we want to include women in the game. Oh, female Magic players. And then the products kick you in the nuts. I mean, how does that work if you're not a guy? So they probably thought, yeah, we should probably make the product stop kicking people in the nuts because that'll be more inclusive for females. I thought that joke would land, and honestly, even I don't think it's funny, but I'm not editing it out. So point number 3, instead of taking 30 sheets of rares and mixing them all up, putting them in a shuffler, or just hand mashing them, I doubt they do any of that. I don't know how they randomize them. All of those would risk damaging them, unless they have really good precise machinery. Then they could probably run through a shuffler. I mean, let's think about it. Casino shufflers don't damage cards. Not typically. I mean, they swap the decks out every couple hours, but they're shuffled 100 times, 200 times. So if they had a nice enough shuffler, yeah, they could probably, do it. But instead of feeding 30 sheets worth in, they're feeding 5 sheets worth in. And then, okay, here's a hopper. So in this big old stack, you got, 5 Pact of Negations. So they could be close to each other, they could be far away. But if you were to throw in 30 sheets, now you've got 30 Pact of Negations that could, just by sheer random chance, not weight or bending or tendency, none of that, just by sheer random chance, could theoretically get near each other. And then boom, now somebody's got a God box, even though honestly that card's $21. So it just opens up more of an opportunity for that to happen. It puts it more on the scale of, okay, it's possible. Honestly, since there was literally 0 repeats, 0, I am not kidding, 0 repeats in 12 boxes, I think that they're taking 1 sheet, shuffling it, and then dropping that into, 1 to 2 boxes. I guess it would be 2 boxes. And that, guarantees that there's no repeats. Now, maybe it was just my luck, and once in a great while you find a repeat because, 52 plus mythic and then half prevalence, that equals an amount not divisible by, 24. It's actually almost perfect. Theoretically, 1 sheet and then another sheet could meet up and you could get 2 rares. It's just extremely unlikely. And considering the results I saw, I think that's what it is. So that's what I think they did, and I think they did it on purpose. But that doesn't explain Rudy's results, does it? Rudy's results look like they took the sheet, cut it up in the exact same order, stacked it, and then just put it into a box without randomizing it at all, which they have not done that since, at least 5 years ago. At least. And that's why you could reliably box map stuff to 80, 90, 95%, accuracy. And it was such a problem. People were being so distrustful of LGSs that they just said, screw it, we're gonna randomize them. And they've been not random, but not predictable. Like I said, not random, not even close to random, but not predictable. So why would they go back to predictable and do 2 identical ones? Well, they just changed the method. Maybe they screwed it up. If people are doing this mashup by hand, or they're doing hand shuffles really lightly with like padded gloves or whatever, something that doesn't damage the cards but randomizes them. If somebody was doing like flawless riff shuffles, or somebody, I guess a pile mash shuffle wouldn't do it, but you'd also damage the cards. So I don't think they do that. But maybe the shuffle machine wasn't calibrated, or somebody didn't know to use the new shuffle machine and they just put them in straight. Maybe there's a human method, and the human unknowingly, who was supposed to be responsible for, randomizing the cards, they were doing it in such a way that they did it almost exactly consistently the same reordering. Not randomization, but reordering. So both of his boxes were reordered in the same way. So I guess I am going completely in depth on this about, because remember, I used to work at a printing facility. I know how hoppers work. I know how random chance and randomization works. Yeah. I also know how math and programming works and how computers work and that industrial machinery. So that would explain why Rudy's boxes were nearly identical, not perfectly identical, but nearly identical, and why I didn't get those results at all. Out of all 12 of my boxes, the 12 boxes were very dissimilar from each other, even though they came off the line at the same time, in the same order, everything. But people are saying that the boxes look similar and that everybody opening boxes look similar because there's 0 repeats. So in every given box, there's about, 30 to 50% of the cards you can pull at exactly 1 each. So of course you're going to be like, 40% overlap, 50%, 60% overlap. I mean, those numbers are reasonable. But as soon as you take out, let's take 30 sheets and mash them up, let's make it 1 sheet or 2 sheets or 3 sheets, you're going to start to look the same. All the boxes are going to start to look the same because that's just how math works. I mean, I can't really explain it any further. That's just how that would work. So my theory is that's what they did. They changed the randomization method so that a card has a smaller pool so that it can move less far between boxes. So you don't get 4 high-end mythics migrating to 1 box and then, oh boy, God box. Because customers were getting pissed and it was killing sales. That's my theory. Why did they not make a statement about it? I don't know. Why didn't they just say we got a different randomization method and it is unpredictable? Trust us, you cannot box map it. But we just wanted more consistency in polls. I mean, if they made that choice, why would it not be public? People are going to figure it out anyway. I just figured it out. I'm making a video about it right now. Wizards, admit it. Just say that that's what you did. So to say that, somebody made a mistake, they just had a whole pile and forgot to randomize it for just Rudy's order and then everybody else is the same? No. Ask anybody who knows bulk singles opening. Something is different about this set, and the something that's most obvious is I pulled 0 repeats in each box. 0. So I kept all the stacks of, 24 rares and mythics separate per box, and then I compared them all. I sorted them by color and compared them, and I'm like, 2 out of the 3 the same red, 2 out of the 3 the same red, 2 out of 3 the same red. Well, that's weird. And I thought, there's only 6 red rares. So yeah, of course I'm going to start getting overlap. And some of them were, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4. So even the color numbers weren't right. One of my boxes only had 1 blue rare in it. Actually, 0 rares, 1 blue mythic. I mean, that's pretty far away from, look, Rudy opened 2 identical boxes, So my theory covers everything. It covers what I saw, what he saw, what other people are reporting, everything. I can't even think of an alternative theory that would explain this better. So that's why I said I am 99% sure that they lowered the randomization pools, each individual pools, and the way that they stack them into the hopper for packaging. And that comes down to, do I support that decision? I'm gonna say yes, and that's probably gonna surprise some people. I don't like, I don't like the $600 boxes, you guys. Okay, I don't like the $50 boxes, and to have $50 boxes, you gotta have like at least $400 boxes. I think 6 might be a little generous. I don't like people getting shorted, and I don't like people thinking that, oh, cool, this happened once, so it's gonna happen again. I can make $400 profit by opening this, yay. I'd say it's a gambler's fallacy, but I think that means something different. Oh wait, yeah, thinking that past results indicate similar results in the future. I think that is the gambler's fallacy. So if they're just like, no, we want to get it to 150 to 300, that's the range. Then I think people will be happier with that. I really do, because then you get what you pay for. If you're just like, I want to, buy this box and get some cards from it. You don't want to open 50. You do want to open, a lot, but you don't want to open $50. And I've had $50 boxes of MM2, MM3, EMA, and I've had $400-$500 boxes too before. I personally don't give a crap because I open so many boxes that I end up with 16 of every mythic and like 50 of every rare anyway, plus or minus 2. So I could care less if one box is 600, one box is 50. They're all going to the same damn pool anyway, and I'm going to pull the same number. So I don't care. But for the average person only buying 1 or 2 boxes, I don't think they want to get screwed on one box and then get screwed on another one. And ooh, now they're out a lot of money. And if they still want some singles from it that they didn't pull, oops, they just lost a couple $100. I think that's pissing people off to an extent that it drives them away from Magic and buying anything but singles, and Wizards doesn't want that. They benefit when people buy sealed product as opposed to singles because not every single single that they open is going to immediately hit the market. And that's like, we're talking 20, 30, 40% difference in gross sales. So like that ain't no joke. Like that is on their radar, trust me. So if you don't agree with we want all the boxes to be around the same value theory, you know how the cards in the open air will start bending after 30 minutes and people were complaining about cards being bent inside the sealed wrapper in Commander? It's possible that after it comes off the cutter, they don't have the time to let these be out in the open air. Instead of let's take 50 sheets of rares and then cut them and then randomize all 50 sheets together and then cool, we've got a randomized pile. Instead of that, they're saying, we cannot have these cards out in the open air that long. They won't survive that long. Let's wait till the customer gets them, then they'll start bending. Let's just take one sheet and randomize it. Okay, put it into the box. One sheet, cut it, randomize it into the box, and just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 so that they limit the exposure to the air. That's equally possible. I mean, I don't know the motivation. I don't know whether it was on purpose or on accident. But what I do know is they changed the randomization pools to be smaller. It's clear as day that they did that. Nothing else would explain why there was 0 repeats in 12 boxes. So what do you think of my theory? Like I said, I'm extremely confident it is correct and that's what they're doing. I can't think of any other explanation, but I'm open to suggestions, of course, and any other evidence gathered by anybody else, because I was working all day, so I don't know what anybody else on like Reddit said. And I don't care because I trust my own research, not some stupid rumor by some clueless person lying on a forum and trolling people. So at least I'm confident it's solved, and here's your answer. So send this video to everybody, and I'll see you guys next video.